Hi everyone. Hands up those who don't know me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, just very briefly. Third generation New Zealand born Chinese. Grandparents came over in 1904 and 1920. Paid the poll taxes. They got involved with the market garden, but they didn't get involved with land. They made a lot of money in 1947, something like about £55,000 in the bank. Ream you could buy a property then for £3,000. So my grandfather could have bought about 20 houses for cash, but didn't. He sent it all back to China, unfortunately, in 1947. In 1949, the communists came and said thank you. Plus, anyone that was rich, they shot, so he got away very quickly. But myself, fortunately, otherwise, if he'd stayed there, I'd be pedaling around on a bicycle today, probably pulling rice out of a paddy field or something like that. However, here I am. Worked for social welfare for about 26 years, left in senior management in 1990, and I had properties started at that stage from 1969, and I bought one a year till about 1979. However, I had bad advice from a bank manager, accountant, and lawyers about how I was going to be debt-free by the time I was 60. So stupid me, I went and got 3 jobs. All I did was become a workaholic and managed to pay off a $500,000 debt, which is like $5 million today. Logically, I should have thought about it. You can't pay off $5 million. And I did manage to pay off to about 10% of it. However, come 1992, I decided to get into the business, left the welfare, and set up a chain of grocery shops, which I set up 11 of them. 3 of them have been sold off, resold off, but the rest are all franchised, so hence that gives me a nice passive income. However, 2002, having sold all my properties to set up the business, I got back in and I attended a seminar, relearned all the things I already knew, but came away not so excited but more angry with myself for having tried to work off a debt that I shouldn't have. And there were other ways of making money through property as well to be successful today. However, in 2003 anyway, I bought 21 properties with a $180,000 overdraft, and they're worth about $4.8 million. Today those properties are worth about 11, 12 million, but I bought others. My total portfolio is about 15 million, and I have about 34 properties. So, and it gives me a gross rental of about 700 a year, and my interest rates are about 400 a year, so I'm getting a nice 300k a year gross. All right. Fortunately, earlier on though, I never used my tax deductions, which have now been removed. I've got accumulated $1.2 million in taxes, so for me, whatever I do, the next $1.2 million I earn is going to be tax-free. That's what you get out of the benefit of depreciation in property, and sadly it's all gone now. So anyway, here tonight I'm to tell you about how to get more money out of your properties, how to buy a property and add value to it, and how to perhaps reinvest that newfound equity through renovation. Right. So why do we want to renovate for anyway? Anyone? Add value? Yep. Increase your rents, yes, definitely. But why do you want to increase rent, and why do you want to add value? So you can buy more properties. Exactly. And who's doing that right now? Right. Who's bought properties in the last 12 months? Hands up. Who hasn't? Who hasn't bought anything? What are your reasons?
We just started.
Just started. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Just so I can recognise who you are, you sit on one of these and give it back to me later. No, you keep it. And yourself, why haven't you bought anything?
Yeah, just an education fund and learning.
You've got some properties already? Just the house, mortgage. And have you thought about getting into properties? That's why you're here tonight. Oh, good fella. Anyone else hasn't bought anything? Hands up. Yep, why haven't you bought anything?
Just trying to get some education in as well before not to make a mistake.
Yeah. Who thinks property values have gone up a lot in the last 12 months? Right. Who thinks they may go up even more? Right, so what are you all doing here tonight? You shouldn't even be listening, you should be going out there buying something. Okay, good one. What are we talking about? Renovations. Just for your information, I'm a property coach, and also I talk all over the country for everyone, like tonight, to just fill you up on everything, where the market's going. So if there are any questions you want yourself later on, just ask later, just stick your hands up. That's me, renovator and property coach. Renovations. Why would you want to renovate? And who are you renovating the property for anyway? Who are you renovating the property for? The bank. Does the bank care if you renovate? Not really, just as long as you pay your mortgage. Yourself? Yourself? Yeah, who said that? You did. Good. Valuer. Why the value? It'll be the same DVD. Why the valuer? He's the only one who's going to tell the bank to give you more money. So when he comes around, look after him. He's your most important person in the whole field of property investing. Because if he doesn't like you and he values your property down, what are you going to do? If he values your property down? Yeah, get another valuer. All right? Easy. Everyone thought of that? Yeah, don't just sit with a... I've quite often had my properties valued twice within the same week. Wasn't happy with the first one, so go get another one. And in fact, one of my students, she used two values in one place and the same two value on the next place. Both of them have opposite valuations. The first one says, nah, not worth it, and valued down, and the second one says, well, valued high. Then they went to the next place, the two of them went, not together of course. The second guy says, nah, not worth it, valued down, and the first one valued up, so don't know how these guys work. But so long as it makes the bank happy. Right. So how do we make the banks happy? We renovate and add value to our properties. Then they'll really think you're marvellous, because their security risk is decreased as a result. When's the best time to renovate?
Before settlement.
Yeah, it's a good time, it is. Anyone? When's the best time to renovate?
When you need more cash.
Yeah. Anyone? Don't know?
Between tenants.
Always. Just renovate any time. That's all right. So everyone's correct. I haven't got enough to give out yet. The what? Yeah. Or renovate beforehand, actually. You get your rent up. Now, when you're doing renovations, you've got to renovate appropriate to the area. Right? There's no point doing a really upmarket renovations in Cleandon, right? Because all you're doing is providing them stuff to pinch. There's no point. Provide stuff that's unpinchable, that's stuck to floors. They'll probably crack or break if they did. Like, you obviously wouldn't use copper pipes in South Auckland, right? That would disappear tomorrow. However, you can use plastic pipes. They wouldn't pinch them. I don't think so. And carpets, South Auckland, you can use second-hand carpets. That's appropriate there. They don't want to pinch second-hand carpet. But if you put a new one down, as my daughter did, they put the carpet down. Next day it got nicked. So they had to go to the insurance company. And they said, yep, put another lot down. And that got nicked. All right. And then the third time they says, get it rented first and then carpet it. All right. So that's really what happened. So, however, just renovate appropriate to the area you're going to renovate. Don't go doing an overkill or over-capitalise on your property. No point spending $100,000 on a $200,000 property, right? And then on the other hand, no point doing a $1,000 renovation on a $1 million property. You're just wasting your time. All right. Beware of over-capitalising, which is exactly the point. Don't go spend the right amount at the right place, there are places around Auckland where you can spend heaps of money on it and it will increase in value. But not every place is like that, so beware. Right, you can start at the letterbox on this one. Now, you can obviously tell which was my place, the one on the right of the first one, right? And that wasn't even good enough, I thought. So, what did I do? I stuck 4 brand new letterboxes up. And I own unit 3. And I went to unit 2 and says, cost me $65 for a new letterbox, what do you think? And then she says, yeah, that's okay, fine. Mind you, I told her that unit 4 and 5 had agreed as well, and she was the last to ask. And so she naturally agreed. Then I went to unit 4, and I said 5, 3, and 2 have already agreed. How about? They said, yeah, sure. And I went to number 5, and I said 4, 3, and 2 have already agreed, and to the letterbox. He said no, right? So it doesn't really matter because it's a nothing amount, $65. But to get him back, I didn't give him a nice flashy plate. I just put a 5 on it. And unbelievable, it's still like that today. You know? Didn't even ask. Just these little things, eh? But got to have the last laugh. Where's number 1? Oh, it's like number 1 is actually 156. That's the house at the front, and these are 4 units built at the back. All right. Yeah, number 1's still there. I don't own that one. Okay, here's something here like, probably can't see, but it's all mouldy up the top there. Right, and curtains. It's obviously got a screen there. But sometimes renovations, you don't need to do a lot. You can do it on the cheap to make it look good. So what do? Has anyone used Genola or white magic bleach or something? You just buy a can from Bunnings, use the RP discount and probably get it for about quarter of the price off, and just put Genola or magic straight into it. Don't water it down and just pump it on and you get this effect. Hasn't shown very well. But it comes up really nice, and all I did was pretty much didn't even need to paint it, but I did anyway, and I just painted all around. Use a good paint, sort of like marine paint because it's in a water area, and just change your curtains, and that's all you do. It's not expensive. Yes.
What about putting out extractor fans just to stop that damage reappearing?
Yeah, there would be. You'd have to get a builder to put it in and put a hole on the wall, and if you've got the budget, fine. Or alternatively, just in a year's time, just spray it again. Right. But you're right. If you're starting out, obviously you want to do things on the budget because you haven't got a lot of money yet. This is a dunny. It's all rotted down here, right? And I don't know what it is. Even the bowl was sort of shaky and the nails had come out of the wall, right? But what's the dunny cost these days? 400. Installed, yeah, you can get them for about 200 plus. Yours is upmarket, yeah. Yeah, about $140 plus installed, probably about $340. It's not a lot, but it adds more than $300 to the value. And if you're lucky, you might be able to sell that on Trade Me. Yeah. All right, and that's it pretty much there. You buy yourself round doorknobs, they're only $10 each. If you get a builder, it's going to cost you $40, but if you can learn to do it yourself, it's really easy. It's actually fun at first if you've got the time. The dunny bowl is about $200 for the budget. Buy one of these, gives it flashy there. Don't you feel like staying there for a while when you get that? But anyway, if you really think about it, you spend about 4 or 5 years out in your lifetime in the dunny. All right. So you might as well make it comfortable, eh? Pays to have an extractor fan, of course, for obvious reasons. And tiling the floor as well. Just flicking back to what it was. See? You don't want to spend 4 years of your life in there. No way.
Save your time, spend
Yeah. I'd build an office in there if it was me. Bathtub. It's probably not showing up very well here, but there's all grime around here. For me, you can do renos yourself. This is my first time learning how to tile, and I tiled all around it. That's the same corner there that I photographed. We actually put a new bathtub in here, and that made it $1 million. Yeah. Original plan was just to do a row around here. Got carried away, and I ended up doing the whole lot. Yeah.
How
But-
long does that take you for a first time tiler?
About a week, actually.
Looks good.
Yeah, I thought so. You'd pay for it?
Can you do my place?
No, it's only just the fact of knowing, why do I want to do it myself? Right. I take on these challenges. I'll probably only do it a few times till I get bored of it. It's so when someone comes along and quotes you money to do the job, you've always got a back-out clause by saying, well, I can do it myself for far less and a lot better for the price you're charging. You know, if it took me a week, surely it can only take them 2 days, so you only want them to charge you 2 days' work. By doing it yourself, you get to know how long it should take and what's involved for the materials they use. If you don't know what materials they use, then they could have you on, like waterproofing, what's involved with waterproofing it. They might charge you excessive, and you know how much you paid for it yourself and where you can get it discounted. So I like to do these things. Those who've seen my house, I got a huge deck at the back. Did it myself for 5 months, but there's enjoyment of doing these things. But if someone wants to quote me to do decks for students at other places, I know exactly how much it should cost. Very important. A kitchen. Okay, there's a place we bought, very average sort of kitchen. It's dated because you got these tiles on the bench top here. Surprisingly enough, it's not that expensive to replace a bench top, and use a laminated one. Cost of a laminated piece of board for that length would be about $300. Buy a basin, you soon know how to fit them, and get a plumber to install the taps. You could probably get a new top and basin in there, brand new flashy looking, for about $400 or $500, right? And the cupboards, you could change the cupboards, but the cupboards were all right. So what do you do with veneer cupboards? Just change the handles and paint the jolly things. You don't always have to change them, right? Same cupboards, we just painted it. Use a double coat, good stuff that sticks, and we changed the bench top, right? And also tried my luck again at tiling here. It's very easy, you know. Don't worry about using tile, cement and all that. I just used no-nail glues and just glued it to the wall. It's a lot easier, right? A lot faster. Just sticks there. It's only too high, and it's done, right? It's not messy, and it's very cheap, right? Do it yourself. I could probably do that in about a day, less than a day, in about 3 or 4 hours. Yeah. Any questions? So what we've done here is I can't even remember if I changed the handles. Yeah, we did too. Old-fashioned handles. The handles, that's right. $2 shop. Guess how much they cost me? $2. Yeah, it does. Oh, at that stage it was $2. Probably costs you more now. It's probably a $2 plus shop. Yeah. And we put a new stove in. Very easy. So that kitchen, we put this in, $99, and tiled all the way up to there. So it looks a bit flashy. You don't have to use these splash black glass things. It's okay. It's still good and still very rentable. This one here, nice kitchen. I didn't like the colour. It's just boring, right? So what do? Do we change all the cabinets? No, just paint them. Those days I was really into chocolate colours. Yeah, it looks good. I actually stopped using the chocolate after the valuer said if I kept using it, he'll value down my properties. So, got to keep him happy, remember?
What colour does he like?
He wanted actually a light colour. So, that was. So anyway, me being me, I'd bought about 4 litres of this, and I had to do 2 more houses with it to use it all up. Right. I didn't want to spend extra money.
Yeah.
Right. But that's. But I went after this. I actually went to a colour, what do you call it, consultant course. They show you how to mix your colours. So ideally, if you really want to get into it, 1/3, 2/3, right? Preferably 1/3 dark or darker colour than the other, and the rest of it light. I've done sort of 2/3 dark there, which is the other way around. Right. But I was into chocolate colours then. Yeah. Now the floor, you can go up market, spend a lot more money and have nice tiles. But this is sort of around Mount Wellington Highway area. Other parts of Auckland like Ellerslie, Green Lane, St John's, I'd probably be putting tiles in to get that value up. It costs about twice as much. But these are actually, it's just a linoleum, or what do you call it, and it's a lot cheaper and it looks good enough. So I did that everywhere, and I used the same carpet everywhere I went. The previous one was a dark colour, but I like to change the carpets. They cost me about, at that stage when I was doing these renos, would be about $100 a square metre for the whole house. But now you're probably looking at a budget of about 130 to 140. So if you've got a 50 square metre house, what would you budget for? About 8,000 or 9,000 for a 50 square metre house. Renovations to me today, I try to keep it under 10. So if I'm doing it, I'll forego other areas. If I went tiles there, I'd probably have to forego other areas. Right. Yeah. This is one of my first properties. Very bluish, boring, and probably been like that since the house was built. So what I did, I got rid of this stainless steel bench, put other benches in, and there was a floor there that had to be resanded, and I had this effect. Right, everything's the same, just a new bench there, and painted everything, and just stuck an island in the middle, right, and polished the floors. That was the last time I ever polished the floor.
Could you show the previous picture once again?
Yes. Oops. This one? Right. Everything is just painted to a quarter Spanish white colour. It's a Dulux colour to that. And I painted this part here, and I think that was a new bench there. Easy. I didn't even change the handles by the looks. But just make it more simple. 2 colours, 1/3, 2/3 colour with the floor to offset. It's the last time I actually polished the floors. My feeling on floors is they look great and trendy during summertime, but old houses, they need insulating under the floor, otherwise it's just cold. I'd prefer to put carpet in. Right. So who's into polished floors? Yeah. So think about it, polished floors is just as expensive as carpet, but carpets, they're more attractive to tenants in my mind, unless you're out Ponsonby where it's trendy and it's okay to insulate all your floors, that sort of stuff. So
Potentially for the kitchen as well, or just different colors. It looks creamy color in the previous photo.
that was the lino there, we ripped it up and polished it. Yeah, I kept the same handles.
Did you have to sand it back too? Or
Yes,
you did sand it back?
yes. And about 3 coats of polyurethane on it. If you get a cheap quote, it's because the guys only put 2 coats of polyurethane on, but it should have about 3 or 4 to get a really nice matte colour. matte finish. Right. Just a common toilet, washroom, dunny area. Right, it's nothing big. It's just the colour of it all. Colours do change everything, right? And a fresh coat of paint does too. Painting's not expensive if you're doing it yourself, that is. Hence, the same corner. I was into the browns then, offset with a quarter Spanish white wall, new dunny, and sort of feel like you want to stay there now. Here we got a place I had an only hanger. It was just ordinary colours of, everything was autumn colours those days. So I had to get rid of that. Lino there, me there when I was a lot skinnier. Like so, just change the colours to sisal. That's the colour I use now. All right. And put a second-hand stove in as well. Like so. Easy. Painting is, if you do it yourself, it's not expensive. All right. Who knows how to paint themselves? Yeah. It's easy to learn. Just don't do what one of my students did. He had the tin of paint, if you can just imagine, right, and the big bucket. And he got the paintbrush, held the tip at the end, and dipped the whole thing right down to their fingers. Then he lifted it out, and I said, right, go paint. And he sort of went like that and down. It's not that complicated, really. Now, I love buying backyards which aren't backyards. Like this here is one thing when I'm buying a place, I love going into it and says, my God, there's no backyard in this place, and then walk around because the agent's not going to say anything because there is no backyard. But for $800 and a bit of labour from myself, you get that. Easy, just $800. You can save a lot of money. Look, when you're initially starting out investing, put a little bit more time into if you want to save that money, because the money you save is your deposit for the next place, and you're adding value all the time. So just painted the fence. Can't remember if I put that in. Yeah, put all that in, and put pebbles in. This is the same here. Painted the wall, and put 2 pot plants here. Some of you know why I did that. So why would I put 2 pot plants there? For the valuer. Yeah. That's right. I own the place next door. So after he'd been here, next week I had him back, I took these over next door and used it again. All right, real cheap.
You could ship the tiles as well.
Eh?
You could ship the tiles as well.
Yeah, good. Now here's another, there's one of my places in Panama Road. This is, the only other thing I value at this place is before I started cleaning, I cleaned up all the chocos from there. Yeah. But that's what you have. There's no backyard. You got to tell the rest, saying, oh my God, there's no backyard here. You know, who would want this place? But underneath it all, when you clean it all up and do all sorts of things, I actually, this is a block of units. There was a few unemployed people next door. The guy had a sore back or something, he claimed. Anyway, I got him to clean up for me with a sore back, and he did all that. Yeah. I actually went to Placemakers in Lund Avenue and bought all these for about $4 something. I got them for half price. Unbelievable. Yeah. She mischarged me. Yeah. I wasn't going to tell her. There's nothing dishonest about them mischarging. It's up to them. Yeah. And I just said, oh, that's a good price. And I just paid for it. So that's my clue to them. If they're not going to pick up on it. Pardon?
I thought you were JP.
But I wasn't dishonest. They said, they gave me, they rung it on the till. And I looked at it, hesitated, and said, oh, this is a good price. Thank you. And I paid it. Isn't that honest?
Yeah.
Yeah, gave them a chance. I had lots of shops. If I did that to my customers, oh, yeah, okay, that's my bad luck. So things get around. But you can imagine, what would that have done to the place in terms of value? Heaps. Yeah. Put the rent up, that's for sure. Yeah. Another way of increasing the value of your place, not expensive, is just divide the rooms. This was a room that was probably about 8 metres by about 3 metres. So I just chopped it into 4 metres by 3 metres. It was an old house. Originally, that was the huge lounge. I made that into 2 bedrooms, and there was a large bedroom over the other side. I made that into the lounge. All right.
How do you find the work's got the wall about roughly
Around down there.
yeah, it's in a beam,
Yeah.
paint is white.
I left the beam there for a purpose, and jibbed up to the window. The only person I did it for is to show students that this is what you do. I didn't bother to finish. What you can do is probably use some sort of tape down there and just make it look like it's been, or go the outside, you can paint it down straight down if you want. Do all sorts of things.
Did you put up that framing yourself?
No, I got builder to do it for me. All right. You can do it yourself, but well, I know I could do it. There's time more than anything else, because putting up frames is dead easy. Say it's 600 by 400, and that's so therefore 800. Why is it 600 by 800?
Size of the jib.
Yeah. So if you don't know how wide, the centre of the jib is right. So you can put 2 sheets nailed on one, another sheet nailed to there, and this is the middle. It's easy. It all falls into place. All right. So that's 600. So that meant this was a higher than normal stud. Was it? Yeah.
Do you have to get council?
Oh no, that's 800. Yeah, 800. That's right. So it's 2.4. Do I have to get council permission? No. No, you only need council permission if you're changing the structure on the external walls, and if you're mucking around with a supporting wall. All right. Who's got iPhones here? All right, you just get your iPhone out and you can just... Well, the iPhone 4 is a bit different now, but the iPhone 3 is exactly 100 mil, and you just measure the studs, whatever, and that tells you if it's a supporting wall at the end. Okay? It's 100 mil, used to be. The next thing we did was bought bats, soundproofing bats, and used jib noise, what do you call it, so to reduce the noise between the 2 bedrooms for whatever reason they want to reduce noise. This is just the other end of the wall. This part here was the hall, the cupboards actually. We shifted wider, and so hence that became the hallway coming down here into the bedroom. Right, and there was a cupboard here as well.
You have to take council permission to do that.
No, not to just put up a wall. Right, it's like there's a corner over there. I just make a little room in the corner. You don't need council permission, but you do need to take into consideration sufficient lighting and sufficient ventilation, because you don't want a corner like that with 4 walls. Someone goes and suffocates there while they're asleep. You'd be responsible. So keep that in mind. You need good ventilation and lighting. All right. Otherwise, they'll be like mushrooms. They'll grow in the night. This is a house that we bought, one of my second properties, and it's exactly as it is. There was this scoria driveway here, and pretty much it was just boring, you know. But to paint the outside, I spent about $400 in paint, water-based paint, which is easy to paint with, and took me a weekend to paint it, and then did that. That's all it is. It's, forgot the, yeah. Right, you can use Napa or something like that. That's a colour scheme. And the same fence. And this is the driveway that was scoria before. The good thing about it was the neighbour in the middle was, there's three, one there, and this house here. The neighbour here was the one who was using it the most, obviously wanted the driveway redone. The guy at the end was a rent to buy, he didn't want to do it. And myself, I was quite happy to do it. And in this situation, it cost us $5,400 for the three of us, so that's $1,800 each. So I paid $1,800, he paid $1,800, and this guy said, look, I've only got $1,000, which, well, hang on, you know, what's going on? You said you'd do it, and now we're minus $800 short, and the truckie wants to be paid. So he says, but I don't own the place. Right, he doesn't own the place, that's really what it is. And so I said, well, okay, who owns it? And he was rent to buy off a person. So I approached the owner, and as it turned out, he was about $10,000 behind in his payments. And the price head was at that stage about $180,000 that he had bought it off her for, and he's $10,000 behind. So I said, well, I said to her, I'll pay for the driveway, but she didn't want to pay it because he wasn't paying her. And I said, I'll also pay the $10,000 if you sell the house to me. And so this guy was happy to get out of it. I paid off everything, bought the house for effectively about $194,000 then, that is, but the CV was $230,000. So I bought it. Today that place is worth about $500,000. So it just shows you being nice to the neighbours does help. Parted with $800 and end up getting about $300,000 in return. Is that a good return? Yeah, it is. Another house I bought, so it's pays to look after the outside of the house, gets values up. Now this is an area, if you don't want to spend lots of money, just do it yourself. Right, that bought this at an auction, the only house I really ever bought myself at an auction. And I paid too much because I was emotional then, but not now. And I just painted, it was just dated colours. Now a lot of the paint was cracking and all that. No big deal, just water blast it down and paint it. Who cares? You know, it'll peel off in another 10 years, I'll just paint it again. Right, and that's what water blasted does, and then painted it again with a Napa. Napa's a sort of a greyish brown colour, very nice, pleasant. The house next door, similar to that, I painted it Stonington beige, so we had sort of similarities. Okay. But
What colour is that again?
Napa, N-A-P-A, half Napa actually. But you can use Stonington beige as an alternative. Before, it was trendy to have these sort of highlighted features, but no, just keep it simple now. Okay, and that increased the value heaps. I had it revalued and went up about 40%. In my earlier mistakes, I actually was investing out in Massey in West Auckland. Who invests in West Auckland, by the way? Yeah. You too. Okay. I don't agree with West Auckland, but there is a time for it, but not yet. I painted this place Stonington beige. It is, forgotten the name of the street, in fact. And that's what a coat of paint does. I used timber quill, painted the fence. My first time at a little bit of carpentry work, building a banister there. Took me about 2 days to do it, but I just love playing around with it while everyone else painted. Right. Just going back a bit. So hence, right, just tidied the fence up, chopped all the bushes back. I painted this house myself on my own. Saturday I did the undercoat, and Sunday I did the top coat. Just went round. That's how quick I can paint. I'm not even a professional painter. So what was my labour for 2 days to paint that? At that stage then, but even today, a painter shouldn't be more than, how much do you reckon? $100 an hour? So water blasted, I just get chem wash to come in. Painted $1,600 is about all you should pay for painting. But you get painters coming in and say they got to do this, they got to do that. $5,000, $10,000. You can do it yourself. I could have had my friends come around, but I like to do these things myself. Carton of beer and or a few cartons of beer would be enough. Okay, easy. Block of units. This is in LZ Pamua Highway. Very light. This is what you want to buy when it's like this. I love it because you pay for only what it's worth. And that's with a coat of paint. Probably would have done better if I actually painted up here as well. It's a little bit bigger on the camera. Just throw a few pebbles in here. Right. The pot plants, these are new ones, by the way. They're not. These are new ones, really. I'm starting to make money then, eh? Yeah. Oh, this place, by the way, I converted it to a 3-bedroom. I started getting into growing the capital. We're over here. About this wall goes up to about here, so. I created another bedroom there, and this from there to there is a wall, and that was another bedroom. Right, there's a bit out of distortion there. So adding another bedroom, the walls cost me. I didn't do it myself. Had builders come in. The walls cost me about $1,500. Probably another $300 or $400 to put jib up. I jibbed it myself. Who's done jibbing? Jib plastering. It's actually fun. Doesn't matter how rough you put it on. It's all to do with the sanding, and the sanding is so easy, right? And if you make a mistake, what do? Just put more plaster on. Yeah, that's all. It's easy. It's really fun. You want to try it sometime. Okay. When you're putting your first layers of plaster on, you got to let it dry, then put another coat on, and if it's still not looking right, just put another coat on, and then when you do your last coat, you get a very fine sandpaper, and it's really easy. This one here, I bought this unit in Hendon Avenue. It's a downstairs unit. I had trouble with this banister up top. This was loose, right? This is actually the letterbox place, and I rang Gloria, I think that was her name, Gloria, and I actually went upstairs, pulled it off, and I threw it down the bottom, right? And I rang her up and says, "Wow, your fence upstairs is dangerous," because I was cleaning up and it, just missed me. I said, "You better do something about it." She says, "Yeah, oh man, gosh, sorry." I said, "That's okay, just fix it, please." Bingo. Right. She was nice to me. Yeah. And it all started buying her a cake. That's all I do. All right, so buy your neighbours a cake. Quite often they'll ask you, how much did you pay for it? And there's always a reasoning. Questions are the answer. She's obviously asking me something when she's asking me how much do you pay for it. What do you think she's asking me? How much hers is worth? Because why would she want to ask? It's because she's thinking of selling it. All right. Anyway, I told her how much I paid for it. Unfortunately, no way she'll sell it to me for that price. It was cheap. Okay. What actually happened is I got this one very cheap because it was one of these places where the real estate agent, I told her the story about cockroaches. She drove me there in a BMW and she showed me this place. There was cockroaches everywhere. And I says, "Oh, you better stay outside, Jane." It was Jane Wang. "You better stay outside because if you stand on cockroaches, the eggs stick to your shoes." Right? Yeah, they do. And if they're still alive, they run to cover if you spray them. And they lay the eggs everywhere. They'll stick to your shoes, and of course, what's going to happen? she's going to jump into a BMW, right? And what's going to happen? Cockroaches will be all over a BMW before you know it, and then into her house and all that. So she didn't go in. She says, "Oh, you go in, Ron. You go in, Ron." So what did I tell her when I came back out?
They're everywhere.
Everywhere. My God, no one's going to buy this. No, I don't think so. So what does she say to the vendor when she goes to see him? Cockroaches, cockroaches. That's all she talked about. And he said, "You better get rid of it. There's this idiot buyer who will buy it." So that's why I got it so cheap.
So next place you want to buy.
Mm.
When you really cockroaches.
Tomorrow.
Oh, look, there's a science on how to deal with cockroaches. A lot of you buy the spray can. Look, they drink it. It does not kill them. And even then, if they get sick, they'll go to cover and they drop their eggs. That's the cockroach nature, all right? That's what they do. They'll drop their eggs. So what happens after 3 weeks? You got 10 times more little wee baby ones everywhere. So you got to spray it again before they can lay eggs, and then they'll run away and die. And that's it. That's the end of your cockroach cycle. But however, there's still some in the walls and all that. So you leave bait around. So you actually got to kill cockroaches 3 times all in one hit, right, to kill the cycle. And then you're okay for a year or two. Bit hard though if they're in the neighbourhood and all that. When you get a place that's been infested, the odds are they are next door. So yeah, just do it regularly for a little while. All right, because if you leave your cockroach and you just don't do it properly, you'll have turnover, and that costs you money with vacancies. Right, there's nothing worse when a rental manager's taking people through and the little buggers are running everywhere. Okay, but I don't mind them running around when I'm buying a place. All right, it's okay with me. You don't have to be embarrassed. Has anyone got any that want to sell to me?
Keep the video covered.
Yeah. This is a block in Panama Road. One of the things about painting places, you got to control the body corporate first. All right, very important if you control the body corporate. There's 14 in this block. After we actually only needed about 4 places, and we had 3 friendly other landlords who were frustrated with the place. So we set up a body corporate, all right, and we really socked the fees up. And I paid it myself, but why would I want to sock the fees up?
Make your outside.
It upset the other 6 people. And what did they want to do?
Sell it.
They tried to sell. But can you sell it when the fees are so high?
No.
Yes, you can, because I'll buy it. But they can't sell it to anyone else, right? So we help them out. We're considerate. We own now 12 units out of the whole block, right? And one of them just got bought out by another student the other day, right? But we were kind of them. We weren't going to increase the fees anymore. Okay.
Was it a body corporate when you bought it?
It was a management committee. All right. It was a management committee, and we now formulated a body corporate.
You need to sign and agree.
Yeah. Oh, you only need a majority, and then you just let the property manager, whoever they are, they'll just take the others to court to force it. You can force it. So, coat of paint on that. This place had only been painted about 5 years earlier, so the existing owners didn't want to repaint it, but it was the colour of the place that was just looked like a toilet, so to speak, colour. And nice coat of paint. This time I had a colour consultant and gave all sorts of funny sandy beach colours around New Zealand, and it still didn't look like a sandy beach to me. Yeah. Spending money on inside the units. Likewise, having nice new showers. You can get kit sets. I saw the other day $1,000 for a shower, dunny bowl, and something else. Vanity, yeah, for $1,000. Bit dodgy if you do buy that, because what actually happens is when the plumbing comes together, the taps, they kind of leak and all that, and they don't fit properly. So yeah, you can get good specials on, but just be mindful when you're buying these things. Simple lampshades. I used to be in, this is actually a glass dome. I used to be into the Chinaman hat, but I can afford it now. These are about $5 more. So rather than having the dome colours, which look a bit more classier, the problem with having in middle class areas is they tend to break them off and damage the things. So I get this where it's easy for people to just put a new light bulb in and take out. The other one too is if you want to make your place look good to the valuer, put 100-watt bulbs in. Right, it's nothing worse than going into a dingy looking dark place unless you've got special effects lighting in that. Right. So they're only about $10 each actually. Who's got those? No one? Yep. Buy them at Bunnings, discounted. A bit more flashier kitchen. This is getting up in the budget. Right, a kitchen like this, very simple. I don't know where the cupboards have got to. This is somewhere. It's probably the vanity. I don't know where it's got to. Maybe they're still putting it in. But a marble top, flashy sinks, all this cupboards around. It looks like a space for a dishwasher. Right. What would you, for those who haven't bought kitchens, what would you pay for a kitchen like that? 6,000, 7,000, 6 to 8. Wow. Anyone else? Who hasn't bought kitchens like this? 3 to 4. That's a $2,500 one. There are kitchen places out there that will do it for discounts. This one's a bit more flashy. This one's about 4,000, 4,500. All right.
Is that including appliances and installation?
Appliances are extra. Right. They include the sink though, but this will be extra because you get all sorts of qualities and grades, and that would be extra as well. Yeah. So you've got your normal painting, carpets, curtains, changing your doorknobs, changing your light fittings, virtually changing everything except changing brand new kitchens and changing brand new bathrooms. If you stick to that, for a 50, 60 square metre place, if you're hiring someone to do their work for you, 50 square metres, you're talking about 8,000, 9,000, right? But if you start changing kitchens and all that, flashy new bathrooms and nice dunnies to sit in for ages, probably start costing up to 15,000. All right, and then painting outside. If you do it yourself, you can do it very cheap. Who's painted a house outside? Yeah. So how long did it take you to paint the outside of your house? How big was it, I suppose, for starters?
It's 3 stories.
3? Oh, forget it. That's too tough. I wouldn't even look at it. Yeah, that would take ages.
Yeah, it took a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Couple of weeks. Yeah. Yeah. Who else has painted an outside a house? Right. Yep. Couple of coats.
Yeah, a couple of courses to sign out. It took 3-4 days.
Yeah. Like if you get these units that are banana box types, you got a front and the back. That's all you got to paint. It's only a day's work. Yeah. You use water-based paint. You just paint the front, go to the back, paint the back, go back around to the front. It's all dry. Paint that with a top coat, and then go back to the back. It's really easy. And yet we want to pay thousands of dollars for a painter. Don't need to. All right. Just these little finishes you can do yourself. Save a lot of money. Look, when you haven't got time later, that's fine. Pay them then when you make your money. But don't do it out of your hard-earned money. One thing about properties is to use other people's money. Naturally, the first one, you've got to do it yourself. The money's got to come from somewhere, and you haven't made the profit yet. The point is, if you can just imagine, for every dollar you put into the place, let's say you want the place painted by someone, might be about, and you're not going to do it yourself, so they'll hit you for about 3,000 or 4,000. You've got to pay about $1.30 to $1.38, depending what level of tax you're on. So a $3,000 place is suddenly going to cost you about $4,000 in earnings. So forget it. If you do it yourself, you can save yourself a lot of money. But after you've got the property, then you refinance. Then you've got a budget to use other people's money to do all this sort of extra work. Yep.
The question about painting the outside, so if you are in a group of units,
Yeah.
you can't really just paint your own, right? Because then it stands out like a missing tooth in a mouth or something, because it's obvious that you're nice and clean and
Yeah.
The other places aren't.
Yeah. I had that problem. Well, it wasn't really a problem. This is at 293 Mount Wellington Highway. There's 3 units here. Door there, door there, door there. Classic windows. Right. Okay, and there's sort of fences coming down the front here. So I painted my unit there. And no matter what I did to the place, it looked horrible because of the other 2. So what did I do? Move on. I painted the whole lot. Right. I had a problem though. I needed permission. So after I painted it, I didn't paint the ends, by the way. I painted mine there and the back, and I painted the front there only. I didn't paint the ends. And so I painted the front, and I rang up both the neighbours who I'd never met before. I got them through the telephone, through the tenants rather. And as a result, I said to them, look, I'd like to paint the place, and I'll do it for free if you don't mind. Or if you could at least contribute towards the paint, I'd be happy. And they said, well, what colour are you thinking of? I said, well, actually, if you go around, you'll see the colour, because I've already painted it. They said, oh. So suffice to say, they wouldn't pay me. Okay, but that's not a problem, because the value of the whole block went up for me anyway, because I want to revalue. And the benefit of having that is this person sort of think, oh, I'm glad you painted it, but she felt guilty. I said, look, don't feel guilty about it. It's okay. I don't mind. In fact, my mother-in-law is coming over here soon, and I would like her to move next door to me, right? Because I told her I was moving in there. So she sold me her place, and she wanted to know how much. I said, well, look, I paid dearly for my one. I'll give you the same price. All right. And she sold me hers. Yeah. She had a problem with her place because of the fencing here, and there's a fence comes across. I had a pathway actually. I had a pathway like this. Sorry, this wasn't here. I had a pathway like this, the fence, and a gate here. So, whoops, no, it wasn't even there. The gate was there. Right, so this was a pathway to here, the gate there, and then a pathway to the front door. For her, she had no entry. She had to come around through the back way, through the carport, through this way to get to her place. It was messy for her. So I said, look, I'll pay you her place. She wanted more for her land. I said, but you got terrible access there, and if I bought it, I'm still going to have the same access problem as her. So she agreed to the price. So what did I do? I actually built a fence along here with a gate, like so, and I put that there, and I put a gate here. So I just chopped off the front of my place as a pathway to there. So then they had access to this place. Quite simple. Because I own both places now, I could do that. But if I sell the place, I'd have to revert it back. Okay? But I'm going to keep it forever, so not a problem. This guy is now wanting to sell me, wants to buy these 2. And I've said no, I'd rather buy him. Right. The reason why he wants to keep it, the reason why he wants to buy me out is this tenant is actually giving him a hard time, which is good. Right. So the tenants are actually fighting with each other, and so he's asked me if he want to sell, and I said, well, look, I'll buy yours out then. All right. So I'm not going to say anything to the tenant because he's complaining to me about the tenants. Can you tell him to keep quiet? And I said, well, yeah, I do, but I don't. Yeah.
You probably drop their end.
Well, eventually he'll probably think had enough and sell it to me. Okay.
Just drop their end to keep the tenant longer.
Yeah.
Was that a cross piece, like a common ground area or exclusive use?
Yeah, this one has its own ground, which is around here. This one has its own ground, like so. And this front unit has this ground here, a little bit wider. Right. Mine. I own this one here.
So it was exclusive use.
Yeah. So sometimes you can do renovations like this, buy next door out and save a lot of money. I did have a problem which I can't demonstrate it here. From here, this land was lying a bit lower by only about 2 inches. So all the water was flowing off into here, right, and into here as well. So what I actually did is I concreted all the way through here, all right, and I made sure it was 2 inches higher than this end. So now I push the water back, plus my water, all right. So that's really what it is. Another one where we're doing a bit more of a renovation. This place belongs to Joshua in Landscape Road. How much did we pay for it? 440. He spent about 20,000-ish on renovation. Can anyone see what he's done? Right. This used to be a kitchen there. It didn't have a wall here, and there's a wash house here. So what he's done is he's gutted this out right through the kitchen. It looks a bit deeper in the photo. And there's a kitchen here, drawers you can see there, and automatic dishwasher and sink and everything. And we've made this into a bedroom. All right, cost 25,000 plus 400 and... What did it cost for the... What did he pay for it?
Oh, he paid for 40.
440, so what's it cost him, everyone? About 465. He's just finished, this was about 3 weeks ago. He's just finished or had it revalued. How much? 545. So he's made about 80,000 after expenses in about 2 months. Is that good, everyone? Yeah. So that's what you do with renovation. So whatever you do, do it to add value. Don't do it just for the sake of make things pretty. Right? It's not good enough. Do it so there's profit in it. And it's also increased the rent probably by about 100 to 150 per week as well. Landscape Road, good area of Auckland. Right. And I think it was about, I think this place was about 65, 70 squares. So you can add a 3-bedroom. Something that I didn't want to do, say, 10, 20 years ago is move kitchens into the lounge like around here or back door and make places a bit more cramped. Because 10 years ago you wouldn't want to think of doing that. But now with so many apartments down where you can have 3 bedrooms in a 35 square metre place, this is a mansion. And it's quite common now to cram the space up, turn the dining areas into another bedroom. It doesn't cost much to put a wall across and a door. You can buy your doors at Three Brothers. They're only about 180 bucks with the frame and everything. The jibs are easy to put up. They're not expensive. You can put this wall there and this wall up probably for about $2,000. Right. And
what about insurance? Because the insurance company says any changes you make need
yeah.
a CCC. If no CCC, they don't go in.
Yeah, only if it needs a CCC.
Yeah.
If you make changes that need CCC, yes, you must have a CCC. But if you make changes that don't need CCC, then you don't need CCC.
But shift kitchen is not require CCC?
Depends on how much you shift it. Right. You can use, as long as you're using the same pipe outlet, and the pipe outlet we're using here is the wash house one anyway, and we're using the same wiring across, and so long as something you need to note is just make sure the electrician does a certified electrical whatever, right? So it's not a CCC, it's a electrical,
PS3.
hey?
PS3.
Something like that. They can do it on the job after. And likewise with the plumber, he can do a certified work code of compliance type thing, all right, that he's done it according to. And whilst you got that, your insurance is okay. You're allowed to shift it. The CCC, the council will actually say you don't need a CCC to do what we did. But if we shifted the kitchen like to the other end of the house where the over here is, okay, that's totally different. You're using different wiring and different plumbing and different everything else. Okay, then you sure. All right. Initially they'll say yes, you need CC and we won't insure. But if you explain to your insurance broker, I like to use insurance brokers, by the way, because if you go to the insurance, the girl at the counter doesn't know a dicky bird. Is that what's happened to your place?
Oh, no. I just asked and then they said, oh, if you do any changes, you need CCC.
Yeah. That require CCC. Yeah, if you do changes that require CCC, then you need a CCC. But you're allowed to put up walls and do this certain things
But
without the
if
notification.
If the guy, the builder, does everything, he knows how to do plumbing and how to do electrician, but he doesn't have the certificate. Do you need to get somebody else to certify those jobs?
Yes, you should, so it's signed off. All right. If you get a plumber and electrician who's done the wiring and doesn't give you a certificate, then you will have a problem then. All right. And that's my book on massive profits. Hands up who wants it? Wants the book?